It comes as the EU has warned that the Syrian regime's Moscow-backed assault on the city could indeed amount to a war crime. Both the UN and the EU, however, have welcomed the announcement of a truce, but say that Thursday's planned pause in fighting needed to be longer in order to allow the delivery of humanitarian aid. In the meantime, dozens of civilians, including 12 members of the same family, were killed in heavy fighting in rebel-held eastern sectors of the embattled city on Monday. Let's get more from our Moscow correspondent Thomas Lowe. Thomas, just take us through what is going to happen in the lead-up to that truce coming into effect on Thursday.
Right. So what Russia said at this point, and this was a surprise announcement from the Defense Ministry, the Defense Minister himself, Sergei Shoigu, said that these raids from the Russian and the Syrian Air Force will be stopped on Aleppo. They've been stopped for 2 hours from the Russian side. That's what we're hearing. And that's being done, he said, so that this humanitarian pause, that's how the Russians are referring to it, so that that humanitarian pause can be put in place on Thursday for 8 hours. Now, the UN has said that's not enough time to get aid in, but Russia has said, well, quite simply, it's worried about militants regrouping and preparing for renewed attacks. Now, Shoigu, the defense minister, has said that there's two major reasons for putting this humanitarian pause in place. One of them is to get the sick and the wounded out of eastern Aleppo, and the other is to let militants out of eastern Aleppo with their weapons, he said, through two different exit passageways across outside Aleppo to the western area, which is controlled by rebel groups. And he said that Syrian troops will be pulled back from those passageways to let them through.
So why has Moscow decided at this point to implement this ceasefire?
Well, there's a couple of reasons, one of them official, one of them not so official. The official reason that we heard from Vitaly Churkin, who's Russia's representative to the UN, is quite simply, he said that there's no time. A unilateral decision had to be taken by Russia to do something about the situation in Aleppo. Now, let's bear in mind that Russia did veto a draft resolution on a longer ceasefire put forward by France just over a week ago. The second reason is really that Russia is not immune to the weight of public opinion, and it feels clearly that it needs to ease some of the pressure that's being put on it from the EU, where we heard yesterday that suggestions that Russia may be involved in war crimes, and from the US, where we've heard those claims before, but also that the idea of putting sanctions on Russia again is on the table. So what have we got here? We've got Russia, which is trying to ease pressure on its actions in Syria. It's trying to put its best foot forward and saying, we understand the humanitarian suffering in Aleppo. We're trying to do something about it.